What's up guys, I'm Luke the Welder and today we're going to be fixing this gate. Let's clock in. The first most obvious thing is this scroll right here is broken. Sometimes they're under a lot of tension. This gate was actually hit by a landscaper. So the most obvious place of damage is right here. You'll notice that the truck actually put a big giant dent in the outer frame. So in order to replace this piece, we need to remove that weld, this weld, this weld, and this weld. And all the way down here, you'll notice that there's a huge crack across the entire bottom of that. So we're gonna need to cut this thing off and get it switched out. Yikes. All right, so this frame is 2 inches wide. This is a common material I keep in my shop, so we need to cut it about 103 inches long. Now it's summertime here in Southwest Florida, and by the look of the oncoming storm, it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Give it another 2 hours and it'll be pouring rain. Let's bring this gate leaf inside and get to work. Shops are very expensive in this area, so I really don't have the money to rent a bigger shop at the moment, nor do I have room for a fabrication table. So currently, we have to do things kind of an old school way. So I start by clamping some 2x2 to help me hold the gate up, and I get to work. I start by using a 6-inch cutoff wheel on an angle grinder, and I start cutting into the welds. Given my lack of shop space and how uncomfortable it is on the floor, I prefer to lift these up and work on them vertically. We got most of the welds cut except for this pesky weld up here where there is a decoration in the way.
There it is. Woo! 103.
Great, we got our piece cut. Let's set it aside and get to work. We're gonna start off by setting up our little giant ladder. I love this thing. Now the first thing I have to do is remove the existing weld and the paint in the area where the existing weld was. I typically like to start off using an 80 grit flap wheel on an angle grinder for this type of work. This is an aluminum gate, so these flap discs really help take the welds down pretty quickly, in my opinion. But at the same time, they also don't take it down so quickly that you accidentally gouge the material. With these wheels, I'm able to actually remove the weld smoothly and then kind of buff it out a little bit on the outsides of it to get it nice and flush and almost not even noticeable that there was ever a weld there. On a safety note, typically you should be using the guard that comes with the angle grinder. I am a trained professional and I am very comfortable using angle grinders without a guard. However, you guys should definitely be using a guard if you ever use an angle grinder, along with eye protection. Just because I do this at my own risk doesn't mean you should. These power tools are very dangerous. All right, we've got all the old existing welds removed and the paint around them also removed. Let's get ready to weld. This is my favorite part. All right, the ground clamp is on and we're ready to go. Let's go. Now some of you might be thinking, man, that buzzing is really loud and annoying. Yes it is. It absolutely is. So usually I wear headphones. When I first started welding though, most people would count sheep when they would go to sleep. I would hear buzzing noises for weeks on end. Okay, we got that scroll welded up. Now we're going to grind down the existing weld and basically reshape the original look of the gate before it broke. This part takes a high level of precision because if I don't do it right, then I have to re-weld it again and go back to sanding, and then sometimes I have to go back and forth. But I try to be as accurate as possible the first time so that I don't have to keep doing that. All right, now we're ready for the piece that we cut earlier. Let's fit it up and see how it looks. Looks good, so let's put a clamp on the top side here. We got the bottom clamped up. Good. In general, it's always a good idea in fabrication to tack weld both ends of a new piece that you're putting on before you start welding out the rest of it. So I already did that, and now I'm just starting on welding the underside first. In this particular case, I'm going to work from the bottom up. So I'm starting down low, and I'm basically just going around all the bottom welds, double and triple checking as I make my way upward that I'm not missing anything. Because on these types of ornamental gates, it is kind of easy to miss welds when you have all kinds of decorations and stuff in your way. So it's always a good habit to just make sure you're double checking as you go along. Another thing I'm looking for too as I move along is welding discontinuities. Welding discontinuities are basically just problems with the welds. That can range from a lack of argon all the way down to having too high of an amperage or too low of amperage. Welders that do this professionally every day, day in, day out, we work with a lot of different material thicknesses and materials, and we get accustomed to using the same settings and learning our settings. They almost become ingrained in our brains. For us, these habits and settings become second nature. In the same way that driving a vehicle becomes second nature. You just get in, put the key in, start the car, and drive. So far, we're making pretty good progress here. We made it to the top of the gate. We just gotta do these couple welds, and then we can make our way back down. If you enjoy this kind of content, be sure to hit the follow button for me. I've been doing content creation for over 3 years, and I have a ton of content. On that note, let's get back to the welding. All right, we're done with this side. Do a final inspection and switch to the other side. Now at this stage, you can see that there is an ornamental decoration right in front of me. This was a very challenging one to get to, as parts of the leaves were in my way. And here, if you pay close attention up top, you'll start to see smoke, which you probably didn't see before. That is because the powder coat surrounding where I'm welding is heating up and burning away. Typically when I'm welding, I'm holding my breath and trying not to breathe in the fumes if at all possible. Most of the fumes usually go around your hood anyways, but as an extra precaution, I usually just hold my breath during my welding until I can get out of the area. It's highly recommended that you use a respirator as well. They do make some that fit underneath the hood. There are also battery operated breathing apparatus for professionals, but those tend to get extremely pricey. But they are typically good for very enclosed spaces where you aren't able to breathe. They do have them. All right, we're almost done here. The last thing we have to do is clean up the cap and put the cap on. This style of cap is usually referred to as a finial. In the gate world, they come in all shapes and sizes. We're gonna give that bad boy a little tappy tap. The last thing we have to do is weld it on there so it doesn't come off, and we're done. Now this is not the first time this set of gates has been hit and repaired, so this client has the paint that matches this gate. So the client is going to be taking care of the paint, and we're good to go. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. If you would like to learn more about welding and fabrication, or you have any questions at all, be sure to leave it in the comments. And if you would like to support the channel, consider becoming a subscriber. I'm super excited to see what the next project is going to be that walks through the door. You really never know. We get all kinds of things. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm clocking out.